Hey everyone, this is Spurs TV here, back again for another video. So where should we begin? So today I'm going to be very blunt because I'm quite fed up at the moment with Tottenham, and I'm just going to say how I feel and how I've been feeling for the past couple of weeks about us and where do we go from here. So as you guys know, Conte, he said a lot of things in the past few days, among others, stuff like we might finish fifth, sixth, seventh. Where do you want to finish? The vision of the club has not been put forward to him. That matches his. And yeah, but okay, sit in that stadium in North London Derby, and even beforehand, the days leading up to it, it's really unfortunately reminding me of a time that Levy lovers seem to always want to push forward to us, right? So as you know, I'm Levy out for very good reasons. And one thing that always gets thrown at us is, right, remember the 90s, okay? Or remember, I guess when they say remember the 90s, to give some credit to them, then I don't think I mean remember the 90s altogether, but as in the early 2000s probably as well, which was under Enix tenure as well, let's not forget that. Okay, and then I just want to say something. So it's been on my mind for like 2 weeks, leading up to the North London Derby. I think we've literally gone back to the 90s in the space of like 2 months. Yep, in the space of 2 months. I think Enoch has taken us literally full circle. I hope you guys understand the phrase I'm trying to say. It's like where Enoch took us, they've literally just taken us back to where we were when they actually joined. And the reason I say this is, and it's probably even worse than that, maybe, I don't know. But the reason I say this the most is that going to that North London Derby, I felt like we didn't have a chance. Literally didn't have a chance. And the reason I say this is because obviously, when you look at the squad, apart from Harry Kane, Bentancur, who was actually out, and okay, Romero, maybe he's good as well. I don't look at our side or our squad and see more than like 3 or 4 players getting to any other squad in the Premier League. And I mean, not any other squad, maybe start in any other team in the Premier League. And I'm being honest with you, like the defense is shambolic. If you look at Perisic, he's good, but again, he didn't even play on the weekend. And also, he's 34, so you can't say to yourselves, he'll get to other teams because in like a year or two, he's going to be gone. The midfield, Højbjerg, not forgetting he came from Southampton. I'm not against the geezer, he's actually works really hard, but he's probably like a mid-table player or like a very, at a push, a top 7, 8 squad player. He shouldn't really be a starter if we're going to actually win anything. Bentancur, yes, and Kulusevski, yes, and Kane, yes. Those players they'll probably get into most teams in the league, right? But the rest of them, Son, I'm sorry to say, I think we need to cash in on him in the summer. And I'm quite sick of his performances, to be honest. And I'd rather see some youngsters given a go. Give Brian Hill a run against City. What's the worst that's going to happen? And he's regressed so much. And looking back, when I was fighting on other channels saying he's world class and all that crap, he's come back and he's shown that he's not. Because at the end of the day, he just seems like he's a finisher. He's not improved any of his game. He's in fact, there was an argument going around that Sessegnon plays better with him and that improves his play. I'm not seeing that either. In fact, Sessegnon's played the last 2 games with him and they've both been bloody awful. And then, like I said, the reason I think it's a mirror of the 90s, in fact, I felt that the North London Derby thing was like a mirror of the 04 game when Arsenal won at White Hart Lane. I hate to bring that up, but like it felt like I was going to that game again. Except this time we didn't even draw the game. We lost 2-0. At least the team in 04 showed some fight. This lot, there was nothing there. I mean, Kane had a few shots. Kulusevski's created something. But like I said, it's like back in the 90s and 2000s, we had 2 or 3 good players. For example, David Ginola, Ledley King were in the same squad. Stephen Carr, those are 3 I think off the top of my head. Now we have Kane, Kulusevski, and Bentancur. And that's about it. I'm just being real. Like, we've literally gone back to where we started from. And it's like, well, what's the difference this time? The difference this time is we built a stadium. We have this training ground. And this is what everyone wants to push forward is that Enix, this is why Enix are good, right? But no, they're not using the stadium for something good. Okay, we play our matches there, but also there's NFL, there's concerts. They also push forward, we need to make the Champions League, which Conte did miraculously last year, by the way. And yeah, again, We didn't invest after that because we've been promised we're going to make the Champions League just so we can improve the squad. But we've been hearing that for the past 20 years, and again, the window was shit. We've got about it was probably a 5 out of 10 window, and that's pushing it, I think. And it's like we've literally gone a complete 360, and this is why everyone keeps pushing this huge. We need a big reset. We need a big reset now because and start from scratch because the squad is that bad. And also another mirror, if you look at the 90s side and then early 2000s side compared to this side, is that you've got players that have been there for a long time. I remember you had Tarico, Thatcher, those sorts of players, I think, who we had like for ages, who were never good. And then in this team, you've got Dyer, Davies, Sanchez, who are still here, and they've been here for what 6, 7 years, and they were good enough for the first team under Pochettino or any other managers after him, and yet they're still here. I mean, you look at also our keeper, Lloris. The guy for me, he's been regressing since about 2019. I'd say a lot like Deddy, except Deddy's regression happened within like 6 months to a year. I'd say where he completely fell off the map. But with Lloris, it's so slowly each year is declining. And again, you look at that 90s team and early 2000s team, it's the same sort of thing. That team had young players who were there, or players from the academy even who were there, and I can remember Skip probably mirror someone else from that squad too. And yet, they didn't succeed. And if Kane leaves, which he is leaving in the summer, I genuinely think we're going to be fighting relegation next season. And especially if Conte walks, and I think he will walk, or he'll get sacked. It's a given at this point. City tomorrow, I don't see us getting anything. I think it's going to be like a 6-0 battering, like under AVB. Yeah, and like I said, the club has literally done a 360. We're back where we started under Enic. Don't tell me about the stadium. Don't tell me about the training ground because, as far as I'm concerned, that money's not even going into the football team. Apparently, we've been told 30 million plus player sales this January. What was the point of building the stadium? Someone please answer me this. Okay, we might have the extra NFLs and all this rubbish, but the team hasn't improved. Like I said, it's like we've gone back to square one, literally back to square one, back to the 90s, 80s. And what really pissed me off the most was that team back in 04 when, okay, Arsenal did win the title at White Hart Lane. At least that team got to 2-2. At least that team showed some fight. But this lot, apart from like 2 or 3, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And we lost 2-0. And I went into that game expecting us to get battered. And we did. Arsenal didn't even get out second gear. And if you look back, even compared to this season and last season, it's like we regressed 20 years in the space of like 6 months. And Arsenal have literally like done the completely opposite. They've literally gone up 19 years in the space of 6 months. And who'd finished in the top 4 last season? We did. But yeah, they backed their manager, spending money over years and years, and finally they're getting some form of like they're probably going to win the title this season. And us, once Kane goes in the summer, I don't know what manager we're going to end up with, and at this point it doesn't really matter because they never get backed anyway. So yes, in conclusion, we're back where we started when Inks took charge. Don't look at what's happening off the field. I'm talking about on the field because that's what's most important. And this is Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.